The Economist just did a great special section on entrepreneurship. And if you really take a step back from the economy in the United States and you look at it, it's the entrepreneur and the small and medium-sized business that really drives the economy. The entrepreneur is a directing force, according to the Economist. Between 1996 and 2004, the U.S. created an average of 550,000 small businesses every month. Small businesses, entrepreneurial-led, privately controlled, primarily family businesses, are the engine of socioeconomic development and growth. They create more jobs, they create more innovation, and they solidify communities. The Small Business Administration, who I was with this past Friday in Chicago. Side note, we did a one-day workshop in Chicago called a one-day Smart Start on how to start a business. The program, we hosted it at our university. The program sold out in 2 days. People are turning to entrepreneurship out of necessity, out of desire, and out of passion. The SBA has got $730 million worth of funds to help support the development of entrepreneurial-led small businesses, to help provide entrepreneurs and lenders with relief, including startups, offers to access capital and tools to retain and create jobs. I've spoken in the last 2 weeks to probably 25, 30 entrepreneurial-led small businesses. They're all facing challenges with access to capital, whether it's credit to get them through a seasonal swing in business, or it's capital for growth, or whether it's significant capital in the form of venture financing or private equity. The markets are frozen, as most of you know. The idea behind the stimulus plan in relationship to the SBA is to help unlock credit markets and temporarily eliminate some of the fees associated with borrowers, lenders, and particularly entrepreneurs. Across the bottom of the slide, you'll see services, science, technology, health, care, education, and construction. These are the sectors that I've been in contact with, and I'm hearing it from the front lines. Let me just share a couple of examples, one positive and one challenging. A service business in Chicago recently closed on a $2 million round of capital so that it can expand beyond New York City, Chicago, San Francisco, into Philadelphia and Baltimore. It's a small company with 30 employees. It's got a proven business model, and it was still able to find capital. And we expect that it will continue to grow and create jobs in the new economy. Now let me share an example of an Italian business that has 120 boutique retailers across Europe and the United States. Also has a manufacturing operation. And is in a crunch right now, particularly with its stores in the States, because of the downturn in the economy. It needs some bridge credit to get it through until the seasonal swings brings more tourism and more spending back to its upscale shops. This poor entrepreneur is frozen out of access to the SBA because it's a non-American company and is struggling to find a line of credit. He's also shut out of traditional avenues that he had in Italy because of changes and challenges in that country. So as you consider the role of entrepreneurs and the fact that the Obama stimulus plan has significant amounts of money allocated for small and medium-sized business development, it's important to realize that there are unique challenges that some of these businesses have never confronted and hopefully never will confront again. So what are some of the critical success factors for the stimulus plan? Streamline access and pathways to capital. This has to do with some of the bureaucracies, the paperwork, and just the time and energy that takes the entrepreneur away from the business. Create a pipeline, a mix of bridge, micro, growth, and venture capital. Continue to offer incentives for minority and women businesses because they continue to grow in importance and create new opportunities, oftentimes in neighborhoods that are challenged and desperately need change in jobs. Empower veterans. There's 250,000 veterans that will re-enter the workforce this year. Most of them have some training, but most of them have been abroad serving their country. This is both a need and an opportunity to serve and to assist this important segment of the American population. Make it easier for foreign entrepreneurs and small and medium-sized businesses to do business in the United States. It's a global environment. What's amazing is the small businesses, and although manufacturing has decreased in the States, there's still a lot of manufacturing, and it's amazing the number of small manufacturings that are global in perspective. We need to make it easier to do business, particularly for foreign companies. Realize now is the time of great industrial reorganization. The creative destruction that Schumpeter so eloquently wrote about is a force that we're witnessing every single day. Although I'm from Detroit and I'm sentimental when it comes to the automobile industry, sometimes dramatic change is called for. I theorize often and discuss this with colleagues, both academic and practitioners, that the end of the Industrial Revolution is upon us, and that we need to embrace this change and reach out to those that are going to be so severely impacted with new opportunities and pathways to improve their everyday life. Embrace this change and be willing to adapt, change, and listen. These are the thoughts that I'd like to share with you as I reflect back on the circumstances, on the stimulus plan, and the opportunity and challenges that we all face. Some concluding thoughts and some discussion points. President Obama is taking bold steps and has strong support at home. His approval rate's been up around 60 plus, which is pretty significant given the turbulent times that we're living in. That doesn't mean there isn't opposition, and there is. And I think that's important and part of our process. The stimulus plan has been met with much criticism across Europe. I've made a real effort to read what Sarkozy, Merkel, and some local folks here in Austria think of the stimulus plan. The stimulus plan is a radical approach to address a crisis. I don't know whether it's the right approach or the wrong approach, but it's the approach that our country and our world has to accept and work with. If it fails to swiftly impact and stabilize the crisis, what are the alternatives? Early feedback from the streets, and what I mean by the streets is the business community, is mixed yet optimistic. Continued debate around banking and the auto sectors I mentioned previously is absolutely got to happen. On one side, I look at the stimulus package and I embrace it for its swiftness, its boldness, and the leadership of the president. On the other side, I find times that I'm scared. Intervention by government at the level in the banking and financial sector, the removal of the CEO of General Motors is counterintuitive to the American spirit of free enterprise. Continued debate is necessary, and President Obama has brought a renewed optimism and a breath of fresh air at a time of great challenge. It's too early to tell if it's going to be genius or if it's going to be a pathway to further challenges. I don't think anyone knows at this point in time. But I think what I'd like to do now is I'd like to ask, what are the consequences for Europe? And in particular, what are the consequences for Austria? Because one thing that will remain is that the United States economy is a critical part of the global socio-economic system. And if it fails and sputters, it will impact all of us. We welcome, as Americans, your thoughts, your criticisms, your ideas. Because at the end of the day, we all have to share the same world. Thank you.